I am navigating using the tripper navigation provided on the bike as an accessory. Rather, it comes as a standard fitment on the top of the line chrome. So I'm navigating to DD hills, and I really found that this tripper navigation is pretty accurate in terms of providing you the turn by turn navigation. And I see that I'm not sure if it's visible angle, but I see that total distance is 34 kilometers, and there is a slight left which I need to take at 11.4 kilometers. So that's pretty easy to understand and interpret. So I think tripper navigation is a good feature to have on this bike. So coming to top 5 things what I would call out as points, positives, and which I love about this bike, right? Number 1, the looks of the bike itself, right? So only classic can look the way this looks, and totally timeless design, and looks really very authentic in terms of your timeless design from the 60s, 70s, 80s and all of that. And although this is a big shift from the earlier classic to this classic, I understand no component on this bike is shared with that bike. It still continues to maintain and look as good or even better than the earlier classic. So that is one. And the point number 2 is surprisingly good fit and finish levels on the bike, right? Each and every part of the bike, each and every component on the bike is surprisingly really well put together and well finished from that point of say. And point number 3, I would call it as versatility, probably, right? So this is one bike, it's like a take it anywhere kind of a bike, or anyone can ride this bike, right? So this bike can be ridden in the city, this bike can be taken to market to get some vegetables or grocery. This bike you can take your family, and this bike can be used for occasional weekend rides like how I'm going now, and can be taken to the hills. One could do some light off-roads as well. And given the kind of performance this bike packs, right, although it does about 120 kilometers per hour, and that too without vibrations, you can really consider this as a tourer as well, right? So all day it can keep doing 90-100 also if the roads permit. So that's a versatility bit of this bike. And point number 4 is the comfort, right? What you get on this bike, it is, when you sit on this bike, you really feel like a king, right? You really feel like a king, and you are sitting very, very upright, very relaxed position on the handlebar, and foot pegs are forward set. And very important feature here is this has got a heel shifter, right? Toe and heel shifter, which makes your gear shifting very easy and effective. So that is one. And point number 5, right? Truly this bike is a real modern classic. Why I say modern classic is this does have a lot of features on the bike, right? With respect to, you got the digital analog speedometer, which really has kilometers per hour, and also calibrated for miles per hour on the dial. And there's a little digital display on the bike, which gives you all the features with respect to your odo, reading and your fuel gauge and your eco indicator to make sure you're riding at an economical speed, and it's got trip 1, trip 2, your time as well. Yeah, those are the features. And when the bike gets into reserve, it also comes up with a F trip meter, which indicates that your bike has got into the reserve and you need to tank up. So that is one. It's truly a modern feature, and now this bike comes with a ignition cum handle lock, everything in one put together, which makes things very easy. You don't really have to bend down to the neck of the bike to lock the ignition and all those things, handle lock and all that stuff. That's truly a modern feature to talk about. And the switch gear, pretty functional, pretty easy and nice to operate. That's the modern part of it. And yes, this comes with a dual channel ABS and 300mm disc at the front and 280 at the back. Provides really effective and efficient braking if you need to do certain braking as well. So those are the modern features, my friends. We'll talk a bit more once we get off the bike at the location today, and yeah, look forward to speaking to you all.
So I'm here on my classic 350 Reborn chrome red version, and I've done about close to 1000 kilometers at this point, and done with the initial service as well. So I'm going to talk about a few things which I really liked about this bike, and also few things which I don't like about it. Right, there's no bike which is perfect. Every bike has its pros and cons. So let's dive into this and have a quick discussion and conversation. Along with me today I have the legendary biker Mr. Pradeep Prakash. He's on his CB 500X, and we are at DD Hills. So we just pulled aside to make a quick video on the classic 350 Reborn. So I'll dive into this and talk about a few things, what I really liked about the bike and few things I don't like about the bike based on my 1000 kilometer ownership review. So what I really like about the bike, right? To start with, this bike is a looker, right? In terms of everybody on the road definitely will give a look to this bike, be it of any age or generation or whatsoever, right from the elders to the kids, right? So that's the proposition in terms of attractiveness this bike brings onto the table. So yes, in terms of looks department, I will rate it about 9 out of 10 as a classic motorcycle. So the looks are really amazing, and especially the chrome and the red, it's very attractive to look at. That's what my friend also keeps telling me. So point number 2 is versatility, which we were talking about, right? So anybody can ride this bike, and you can literally ride this bike anywhere. You can ride it in the city, you can take it to the market, you can get groceries, you can take your family, you can do occasional ride to the hills, you can do occasional touring. It's one bike which can do it all, kind of a bike. So that's point number 2, which I really like about it. And point number 3, the fit and finish levels on this particular bike are really good, and attention to detail is there. Bike has been put together really well, and exceptionally good finish details from Royal Enfield, especially what I have seen so far on any Royal Enfield Classic or Bullet whatsoever. So next point is overall tractability of the bike, right? So when you're riding this bike, it really feels amazing in terms of cruising, and in terms of riding on any bad patches. It just soaks up all the bumps and undulations from the road. So and very minimal gear changes is what the bike needs, right? You can just keep going in the fifth gear, as low as 50 kilometers per hour, and it provides amazing levels of torque lower down the range. And yes, I did pull the bike a bit while we were riding to DD Hills, and I've also done up to 120 kmph, and believe me, the kind of smoothness or refinement the bike displayed at 120 kmph, it was surprising to know that a Royal Enfield can be that way, right? So thanks to the counterbalance what Royal Enfield has employed in this engine to achieve those kind of refinement levels. So yes, that's one. And another one is it's truly a modern classic, right? So there's nothing dated, antique, or from 60s and 70s with bare bone features. So this is really a modern classic. It comes with your basic required electronics and braking systems, with dual channel ABS and very good braking capability, and the bite from the front as well as the rear disc is really good. Many bikes you will find that rear disc, the braking is lacking the bite. This has got amazing levels of bite on the rear as well. That way it's really good in terms of braking. And in terms of electronics, yes, it comes with uh, digital analog speedometer, and it does a full swipe, and it's got all the indicators here: battery, ABS, engine malfunction, and you got this digital display here which displays odometer, trip 1, trip 2, time, and eco mode, and the fuel gauge as well. So that's one. And this bike has got tripper navigation, which you can use to navigate turn by turn, and it's quite informative and quite accurate, I must say. So thanks to Royal Enfield to have these features on this particular bike. And in terms of other features, yes, these are the modern features what I spoke about. The switch gear is basic, but really does the job, and no issues experienced so far. The clutch, people will say it's slightly heavier on the heavier side, but I found it adequate and decent enough, although it's not really a slipper clutch, but really does very smooth gear shifts, etc. So that's a positive. And yeah, it's smooth running and really easy to ride bike so far. I've been enjoying this. And yeah, so that's a little bit from my 1,000 kilometer ownership experience point of view. So I'll invite my friend Pradeep. Pradeep has what do you have to say about this?
There is, I think you pretty much covered everything. It's a great bike, and yeah,
Have you ridden the classic 350 Reborn?
I have not much, but a couple of. One was a slightly longish ride. In fact, I have covered it in my video as well, comparing this to the CB350.
Yeah.
That was a longish ride, and one was a recent test ride which I did. I told you about it because I am also in the running to buy this bike. Temptation is knocking at my doors, but I am somehow managing to keep it out. But yeah, I mean, it's a great bike. It's what, about 7 decades of design, which is timeless.
Yeah.
So there is something about a design which lasts for 7 decades. Even the Western reviewers are going crazy about this bike. None of them have a single bad thing to say about this bike. I think Royal Enfield solved everything. And the low end torque is what I like the most. Hardly any gear changes, even in the city or in the highway.
This one is the best in class what Royal Enfield has done so far on a classic, with respect to comparing the earlier generation classic to this classic. So it is a huge change in a positive direction.
Very true. So
Yeah.
I would say that somebody who's on the fence between this and CB350, do consider that gearing behavior thing. If it's not for you, if you don't like doing too many gear changes, then give this a real serious test ride and give this a consideration. And especially if you're somebody who rides with your pillion, take your partner and make him or her sit behind you, get their opinion, how it feels, and then make up your mind.
Yeah, that's a very valid point, Pradeep. Because riding this bike in the city, I've used this bike for office over last 1 week and feels totally comfortable in terms of number of gear changes. What it demands is very minimal. And today I brought it out on the highway. I'm still loving the ride and enjoying the ride, every bit of it. So we did a little bit of an off-road, so to speak, where we had to go down near the lake. So it was fine over there as well. So that is very mild off-road, but it was comfortable there. So that's little bit on ownership review, if you may say, for the first initial 1,000 kilometers on this bike. And yes, many of you might ask me, did you have issues with the disc brake? Did you have issues with the chain? Did you have issues with any other issues on this bike? No, my friends, thankfully so far I have not had any issues. Only one issue which I had, which I reported, was this particular brake hose is attached to a clamp here. So this particular clamp, when you get the handle to a locking position, there is a rubber which is getting cut, which I have reported to Royal Enfield, and they are looking at this to provide me a solution. So apart from this, I have not had any other issues on the bike whatsoever.
I'm also getting more and more closer, more and more tempted.
Yeah,
Let's see, probably it will happen sometime soon.
I
I'm
really,
just waiting for the standard 350, as I told you. Actually,
yeah,
because that's my actual favorite, the standard
Hmm,
series,
hmm.
because it's got a very distinctive
yeah,
Royal Enfield signature look. The classic is still new, it only came in 2008.
correct.
The Electra and the standard were always the real Royal Enfield, so I still like that better. So whenever they do release it, if it's very close to what this is in terms of the overall package, I'll probably slightly lean towards that. But if it's a watered down version of this, which is what some sections of the media speculation probably is saying at this point, then I would not like that. I would like to have the complete package in that
Hmm.
wrapper.
Yeah. No, any day standard is a standard with its distinctive design, language, and all that. So, you know. So yes, that's a little bit to sum up our initial ownership review. So thank you for tuning in and listening to this particular vlog. So please do share across your thoughts in the comment section. As always, we love to interact with each one of you. We love to hear each one of you out. We love to interact with each one of you, and please do be vocal and voice out your thoughts, suggestions, and opinions, and look forward to meeting next time. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful rest of the day. Thank you.